Kia ora whanau, and welcome along to our seminar today. We have the great privilege and delight to be welcoming Kelly Banks in today. Now, she's the founder for an amazing platform called Support Crew, which is a online platform for patients and families and friends where support can be offered, and posts put up about who's who and who can help. So what I'm actually going to do is step back just a little bit now. I'm going to let Kelly introduce herself and talk a little bit more about Support Crew. If anyone has any questions, there'll be plenty of time for that as we get through to the end of this recording. So Kelly, welcome, and thank you for coming along and sharing about your amazing support service that's out there.
Oh, thanks, Victoria. Thank you for that beautiful welcome. I'm just going to share my screen so that I can share the presentation that I have prepared. So hopefully you can all see that. Yep. As Victoria said, my name's Kelly Banks and I'm one of the co-founders of Support Crew. So it's great to be here with everyone today, connecting with you online. Wonderful opportunity, particularly because I have a very personal connection to bowel cancer and bowel cancer New Zealand. So I created this presentation today because I think it's a wonderful free tool for you to be able to help coordinate the help that you might need when you're going through bowel cancer diagnosis, and a really easy way to coordinate help from friends and family. But not only that, I think Support Crew is a great opportunity for you to think about the types of help that you might need without actually having to think about it, and then to sort of help coordinate all those offers to help that you'll invariably get or be getting. Because when you're going through a tough time like a bowel cancer diagnosis, you're often so overwhelmed and stressed. You don't know what help you need. And even if you did know, you don't know how to go back and ask for it later. So we kind of call Support Crew like an online help roster, and it's for helping to coordinate help from friends and family when you're going through a tough time. So absolutely with cancer, but it could be any other life event as well. And it's easily coordinating with any help, whether it's meals or cleaning or transport. But also the communication with whanau and friends so that they are updated and know what's going on. So like I said, it helps you to think about the types of help that you might need to make sure you get the right help at the right time. And I'll talk about some of those challenges with the help that you get and sharing my personal journey. Plus, I think it also helps you to kind of sneakily make requests for help without actually feeling like you're asking for it, because that can be a real challenge. But today, I'll talk through the inspiration behind starting to Support Crew, because it's a very personal journey and a very New Zealand journey as well. Talk about Support Crew in action, and then how to navigate and start using a support page. And then I'll also in the presentation share some real life stories. So I know most of you are on mute, so this is kind of like I'm sort of asking a question into the ether. But when you ask who likes asking for help or who's good at asking for help, nobody really puts their hand up because it's something. Asking for help is not something we're taught to do. We do class about it at school, and even and we as a nation, I think, particularly as Kiwis, we're quite stuck, and particularly women, I think, as well, not very good at asking for help. And it's nobody's superpower. So I don't think there's any shame in not being particularly good at it. And we did some research, and we found that 11 out of 10 people struggle to ask. So you're not but obviously that's just a number that we made up. But you get the point, like, right? Like, we're in comfortable company knowing that we all struggle with that asking for help, and also I think also accepting help. So even if help comes in a very specific form, we're also not so good at that. And I certainly was the poster child for not being able to ask for help and to accept help. And I know that when I went through my journey. So my connection to cancer, to bowel cancer, is that my partner Randall was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer, and we really didn't know how to coordinate those offers of help. And what happened for us is that we had lots of let me know what I can do to help, which is extremely well-meaning, but what that relies on is that knowing what help that you need and then being able to go back and ask for it later. And I know that that first couple of weeks after he was diagnosed, it was an extremely difficult time of overwhelm and stress and life admin. And then also having to coordinate all of those people wanting to know how Randall was doing and what the latest information was. It was particularly difficult.
Mm.
And then I've chucked this in here because what do we normally do to support someone going through a difficult time, whether that's a cancer diagnosis or a new baby? It's usually food, which is usually amazing because everybody needs to eat. And it would be the number one thing that people coordinate ahead with on support group. But often what can happen is you get a whole lot of food and a whole lot of help in those first couple of weeks. And for us, in the second week after Randall was diagnosed with bowel cancer, we received 2 fruit and veggie boxes, which was incredibly well-meaning. But we were never physically going to be able to get through those 2 fruit and veggie boxes in that week. And what we really needed a hand with was Randall getting to radiation treatment later. And that can so often happen when you're dealing with a major life event. And I'm sure you've all potentially got your own personal experiences, but we often say you end up with the freezer full of lasagnas, or the house full of flowers, or the pantry full of baking. Which are all incredibly well-meaning, but what often happens when people don't know how to help, they help in the best way that they know how. You get a whole lot of help in the same way, shape, or form at the same time. Potentially, what you need help with is, getting to chemo or radiation, or maybe some fuel vouchers to help you get there. So very much a personal journey, and I'm a co-founder of Support Crew, so the beautiful Janine on the right-hand side there helped sort of bring this to life as well. And she had also been through her own personal journey. So her little man, Ethan, on the left there was born prematurely. Her beautiful mum is a breast cancer survivor, and she's had family members very recently too, sort of dealing with cancer. So we saw in ourselves, and then also in other friends and family members going through difficult times, needing to coordinate help, but not having a really easy way to do that, despite having friends and family members who are really eager to help. So I decided to make something really easy to be able to kind of do that social dance, I guess. So you've got the people on the left-hand side there who really need a hand with things, but don't know how to ask for help and potentially don't know what help they need. And then on the right-hand side, you've got friends and family who want to help but don't know how. So it's this kind of social dance that we do. And we really wanted to create something to activate the help that's really needed to make sure that people get the right help at the right time. So we were incredibly fortunate to have Support Crew when Randall was diagnosed, when Randall had his 5th surgery back in 2017. And we just launched Support Crew. So I'd gone through sort of 4 surgeries and chemo and radiation without having something to coordinate, and feeling like I didn't want to be a burden to others, and that I needed to do everything myself, but having to start to learn to let go. So we had a support page, and it was, 5th time round for us with his surgery. We had just launched Support Crew. So I set up a support page, and we invited friends and family to the page, and we set it up as a meal roster for myself and my mum for when we came home after looking after him in the hospital all day. And it was really to help provide the meals for myself and my mum. And I say that because sometimes a support page is needed to care for the people who are caring for the person at the centre. Because often they're quite well looked after, if they're in hospital. There's a lot of wraparound support for them at the moment. It might not be something directly that they may need for friends and family, but that might be for the caregiver. But plus, it was also the one place that we could communicate with everyone as to how Randall was doing, because he didn't recover that well whilst he was in hospital. So we had to let people know that he wasn't doing so well and sort of switch off visitors and calls, which I'll show you on the platform in a moment. So the platform has an ability to say whether you're accepting calls and visitors or not. But the beautiful thing was that because we'd set it up as an online meal roster, and we have a give store within the platform that allows people to organise meals, we got meals from my aunt in London, my aunt in Whakatane, and friends in Nelson and Cambridge. So it's a way to extend your network beyond those people who live nearby. Plus, I didn't have the barrage of emails and phone calls and text messages because we were able to just communicate in that one spot. And with the gift store, I think it's important to note that we've very carefully curated it with things that we know people need a hand with when they're going through a tough time. So if somebody does organise something for you using the gift store, it'll be meals or fuel vouchers, or we've got Uber vouchers in there, or sort of farmers and warehouse vouchers for clothes and hats and towels and things. To make sure that when that help is organised, it's aligned with what we know you'll potentially need. And it's very carefully curated in the background too. So if somebody organises a meal for you, for example, and you might not have requested a meal, then what we'll do is we'll get in contact with you to say, hey, Victoria, you had a meal organised for you, but doesn't look like it's attached to a particular time. When would you want that to be delivered? Because we don't want it ending up with the freezer full. And it might be that you want that meal delivered in 3 weeks' time. It's very concierge and bespoke in the background too, to make sure that you get the right help at the right time. So it's not specifically about how a page works, but I just wanted to talk sort of high level. But essentially what happens is you set up and create a support page. It's really quick and easy. And then what you do is you invite friends and family to the page via a whole lot of different mechanisms. So you can do it via Facebook or via your email or via the actual platform itself, or you can copy and paste a link into like a text message or WhatsApp. And it's as private as you want it to be. So only those people that you'll invite to a support page will actually be able to see the page and interact with it. So you couldn't go into support and search for random anonymous support page, for example. And then once you've invited your friends and family to the page, then you can make requests for help with anything that you may need. So absolutely anything. And then you can share updates and communicate with everyone in that one place. It's probably talked to this one already, but this is basically the gift store with what we have in there. And we're adding to things all the time in terms of being able to identify the things that we think will be of value. But I think what this really helps to do is extend your network beyond people who just live nearby. Because I think sometimes when you're going through like a tough time, you think about just the people who maybe might be nearby to be able to swing by with a meal, to be able to pick you up and take you to a chemo or radiation appointment. But what Support Crew does is, and probably 85% of our users are based in New Zealand, about 15% overseas. So it speaks to the nature of people's support crew and how dispersed they are, because somebody can help out with a fuel voucher to help you get to a chemo appointment. Like my aunt at the moment is going through a bowel cancer journey, and we set up a page and requested fuel vouchers because a lot of us couldn't actually physically take her to an appointment, but could help financially to get her to those appointments. So yeah, that's another beautiful aspect of it. So we're just about to have had 11,000 people use Support Crew. So we've been able to help a huge number of people get a hand with the platform so far. And the things that people most ask for help with are meals, trips to appointment, cleaning, social visits, and then we get obviously a huge number of messages that happen on the platform as well. So some of you may have used Support Crew already, and be aware you might have used it for other friends and family members and other major life events. But I just wanted to let you know that we've actually gone through a massive transformation over the last couple of weeks. So at the back end of last year, as you can see on the left there, we've kind of gone from a platform that, while the functions haven't changed and the features haven't changed, the usability on mobile has. So before it was quite difficult to navigate and understand how Support Crew works. And now with this nav bar down the bottom, it's really easy to navigate. It's really easy to use, and particularly on mobile. So it's gone through a bit of a makeover, but it has all the features that everyone sort of knew and loved, but it's now just a bit smoother to use. And I kind of talk about it, it's a web app, but you don't actually need to download the app itself. It's web-based, so all you need is access to the internet and then a device to access that on, so whether that's your mobile phone or laptop. So kind of feedback, I just wanted to do a little slide on what people love about Support Crew. You might like to use Support Crew. I think it's great because it helps you to coordinate and those offers to help in an easy place. And also because you might find somebody's got a spreadsheet organising their roster, and then you might go on WhatsApp group. And so that might be quite difficult for you to manage. So it's just one easy place to bring those two things together. I think also what's beautiful is it allows you to get the help you really need. So secretly, if someone a little help fairy came along and said, "Okay, Kelly, what help do you really need?" If you didn't have to worry about, saying it to anyone, you could probably quite easily write down those things, both now and in the future. Because often what happens is you get a lot of help in those first couple of weeks after something's amazing. Victoria, you're nodding your head. But then you actually need help over a long period of time. When you think about Randall's journey, we dipped in and out of needing support. He got diagnosed, and then he had, radiation surgery, another surgery, chemo, and then he had a couple of recurrences. So we dipped in and out of needing support until we got him well over a period of about 2 years. So it kind of peaks and troughs in terms of when you need it. So we really want to make sure that we align the help that you really need when it's needed. So it's personalised and private, like I said before. Only those people that you invite to the page can see the page. And then I think it also takes the pressure off the people closest to you who's supporting you. So like in Randall's case, it was me. So by getting meals delivered, that was one thing that, I didn't need to deal with. And also, the beautiful thing about the support page is that you can add other admins to it. So as many admins as you want. So like I had my mum as an admin, and Janine was an admin. So when things got really tough for me, and that happened in a few different places in Randall's journey, I'm out because I'm like in survival mode. And then Janine and my mum would step in and coordinate that help, and they would see me going, "Okay, Kelly needs meals, or she needs someone to come and sit with Randall so she can go for a walk." Or so that's the beautiful thing too, is that you get to support that person who's supporting the person at the centre. And then we talked before about activating help from communities near and far, like just really activates help from your whole community, not just people who might be live nearby. In Victoria, we were kind of had a very quick conversation about when you're rural or you're rurally isolated, sometimes they're the most wonderful communities in terms of coordinating support. So absolutely need a platform and support group, but also brings in people who maybe who might not live nearby to those people in the community. And then I think the biggest thing is when you're going through a cancer diagnosis, whether you're the person at the centre or the support person or close friends and family, it's a very stressful and overwhelming time. So if other people can help to do things, and invariably they will want to help, it just that stress and overwhelm so that the person at the centre can focus on, on the big stuff. So I talked about the fact that I was just going to talk about some real life examples, just so you can kind of see how it does work in real life. And so just a few examples this year, we had a beautiful family who was dealing with a bowel cancer diagnosis. And this family, we were able to activate 2 months worth of meals in 2 hours after they got this bowel cancer diagnosis. Very quickly being able to activate help from their friends and family. They went on to use the support page for about 8 months. They had about 80 support group members, and the number of members on a support page can very much vary depending on how private people are about wanting to share their journey. But can be it's roughly usually on average around the 40 to 50 mark, but can very much vary. And then this family also got some petrol vouchers as well, and some help with some other meals. So I think it just shows how quickly you can activate support and align it with exactly the help that you need. And we also have quite a few people who on having heart transplants and lung transplants on here too. So obviously you very, very drop of a hat need to, be able to coordinate some help. We also had a beautiful young woman who was dealing with a breast cancer diagnosis, but she also had a very young baby at the same time. So I think it speaks to the fact sometimes, and probably for many of you, this will be your experience too, is when you're going through one life event, it doesn't preclude you from going through another. Like, unfortunately, the universe doesn't wrap you in cotton wool and say, okay, you're kind of done for your life events at the moment, nothing else will happen. You might have you might be caring for an elderly parent, or someone else may have a cancer diagnosis, or there's often, a number of other things going on, or you've just got normal busy life with, a large family as well. But in this instance, it was a breast cancer diagnosis in a very new baby. So this beautiful woman used it over a couple of months. She had 85 support, 85 needs taken care of, and meals transport. And she was the queen of life admin. So she would put the help with research. So researching different, drug therapies and information about her cancer diagnosis. And then also, she was amazing at this. She needed help with finding donor breast milk. And so she put a request for help on her support page there, and then people were very readily be able to jump in and actually find her sources of breast milk for her beautiful baby. And then the wonderful Carol had a support page. She used it for very much in the beginning of our journey with support program, probably one of the most successful support pages. She used it for over 13 months. She started off with sort of 30 to 40 support for members, then up to 70. And then as she got used to sort of coordinating and asking help, she had lots of friends and family overseas in the UK, because she was from the UK. She had 224 support for members on her page. And very much asked for help with her son Jack, beautiful son Jack. So child meals, school pickups, play dates for her husband as he was dealing with her diagnosis and cleaning. So lots of amazing different types of help. And I just wanted to talk to the sort of the financial impact that a support a support page can have. And appreciate this was just one support page, but I think it's very much synonymous with a lot of the active support pages that we have. So this beautiful family used it for over 5 months. They had 132 support members on the page and asked for a hand with meals, but also got some sort of supermarket fuel vouchers to the value of about $750. So what we did is attributed like a value to the meals that were provided on the platform, even though they weren't actually paid for. But the value of the support that was provided on the support page was about $6,830. And whilst we recognise that's not money directly going into the person's bank account, it just relieves the financial burden for the kind of sometimes call it the financial toxicity, hey, Victoria, of a cancer diagnosis. So that you're not potentially spending money on meals and getting to appointments and childcare. So it can free up a little bit of cash to focus on some other things. It's expensive to breathe right now, isn't it, Victoria? Like, cost of living is obviously an issue, and that financial relief can be really welcome. So I've got some just some screenshots here around starting a support page, because I just wanted to show you how easy it is. So this is, you can see here, stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 of what will look like our mobile. So basically what happens when you create a support page is you put in your page name. So it's usually your name. So like it was, Randall in his instance, a little page description. So it might be something like, thanks for helping out with Randall as he deals to cancer type thing. Then we ask you for what the life event is, just so that we know what it is that you're dealing with, how you find out about us, and then you can put a link to an external page in here, which is, so if you've got a Give a Little page, for example, and you're raising funds, you can put that in there, which is a great way to link those two things together. And then whether or not you want to allow your support group to join via a secret link, but you can change that at any time. We just ask you in the setup process, then you click next, so you get through to the next screen. Ask the contact details of the page. So if we need to get in contact with someone who's managing the page, who's that person, what their phone number and email address is. If you're the person setting up the page, it will only be you. Whether you want to hide the contact details on the support page or not, so we ask you for the person at the centre's delivery address, so that if we do get meals or fuel voucher organised for you, that we don't have to bug you for your address, but you can hide those details if you don't want to share them publicly on that support page. And then to your friends and family whether you're accepting visitors and calls, which you can change at any time. And I mentioned before how when Randall wasn't doing so well at hospital, we turned that off and then put a little note under each saying, so you can put little notes under each saying, as you can see here, unfortunately, Randall isn't doing well, so she's back in a couple of days. So what's beautiful about that is you don't have to proactively communicate that to someone. Like we didn't have to ring up and say, "Hey, Victoria, you thought that about visiting Randall in hospital, then don't because he's not doing so well." And oh no, I wasn't going to anyway. Like it kind of just to proactively say this is how we want to be communicated with, and can happen on an hour-to-hour, day-by-day basis. So in those details, then obviously just the warriors contact details, and then that's you setting up a support page. I was going to show you the platform itself, but these are actually working quite well for me because you can see them in their entirety. So then once you've set up a support page, then there's just sort of 5 main areas. There's the home page that shows you the page details. Then there's a sort of a crew section, which is where if you're an admin on the page, you would add other crew members or make other people admin. So you can transfer ownership or remove someone from the page if you need to. So that's the you get to invite people. And like I say, you get to invite people via Facebook if you feel comfortable sharing a link to joining the page on your Facebook page, or it might be into a private message or messenger, it might be into a text message. And then you've got your needs section, and I will actually pop in and show you how this works. So that's where any requests for help have been made, and then the support group can accept anything that they can take care of. And then obviously messaging section for how everyone's doing, and then the store. So I'll go, Victoria, if that's okay with you, to demo at the end, and we're gonna sort of ask any questions. And then so just a bit of feedback on what people who use support groups say. People just love it, I think. Particularly people who go on to really actively use it. It really helps to coordinate the help that they need. And a really soft way for asking for help without actually having to ring someone up and say, "Hey, can you provide a meal for me next week?" So I'll just talking allows you a chance just to have a little read through those things, and then I think just having a way to coordinate that help just shows you how useful that is in terms of coordinating help. So I think if you're interested in using support crew as a platform to coordinate help, what I suggest you do is you can either set up a support page for yourself. I talked about how top and easy it is. And of course it's free, and it's free for anybody to use the platform. Obviously the only cost is associated if you organise a meal or if you voucher through us. You can do that just by heading over to support.co or get in contact with me if you have any questions. Or more importantly, what I would suggest you do is your closest support person, so in that case, Miranda with me, to set up and manage that support page for you. Like get someone else to do it for you. You can still be an active part of the page. When you set up the page, you can invite the person to the page as well, because they're likely to be coordinating with that help anyway, and now they've got a really quick and easy way to be able to do that for you, and then you can focus on the big stuff. Or ask someone else to do it for you. Someone who's saying, "Let me know what I can do to help," and go, "Sure. Do you think you can set up a support page for me?" Like, there'll be lots of those people saying that, so that's a great way for them, to be able to help. And then just sort of letting you know that please email us or call us if you need any help in any way, and sort of getting started. So on the platform, there's also a little sort of speech bubble, and also on our website, so you can chat to us any time. So it's a little, we actually do respond to it. It's not like a robot or AI chatting to you. So we can help with any questions that you have at any stage with the support page. So yeah, I was just going to ask if there was any questions, but Victoria, I might just pop into here because I might just show you how you add the needs, because this is quite a beautiful way. So obviously I've already entered just a couple of requests for help with meals, but what happens is just as an admin, so only admins or people who set up the page can do this. You just click on the plus button, and then we've got a whole lot of different categories. So this speaks to what I was saying to you about, helps you think about the types of help that you might need without having to think about it, because you might be going on to set it up as an online meal instead, and you might look at these and go, "Oh, actually, I might need help getting to an appointment. Or, oh my goodness, I need someone to walk the dog," or I haven't thought about the fact that somebody needs to mow the lawns type thing. So it just kind of helps you start to think about those things. And you just click on a little button, like you're not actually having to ring anyone up and ask them. So when you select meals, then you have another drop-down box. So like if you're going into whanau's dinner, but it might be then you go, "Oh, actually some lunch once a week, or my support person would be handy." And then you get to indicate with meals whether there's any dietary requirements. So if you're on soft foods, or you might go on low fat or sugar free or whatever that is, so you can put that in there, or another if we haven't listed it, any allergies, and then just how many people the meals might be for, which is super handy, obviously, if you've got two kids and two children, and then it might just be some information about the meals that are required, or just a thank you. You can assign request to someone later on. So if you set it up as a like as a meal roster, and then Victoria, you rang me and said, "Hey, I can look after the meal next Wednesday," you could just then go along and allocate that meal to you, so that I know that you're taking care of it. But in this situation, when you're setting it up, you usually don't need to assign it to anyone. Um, then you can choose if the need request is on a specific date or any time before. So on a specific date would be for like a meal, because it's usually related to a meal, for example. But any time before might be like mowing the lawns. So it doesn't have to necessarily be on Friday at 2 o'clock, but it could be any time before the end of the month or at the end of the weekend. And then you can set it up as recurring. So if you want to do for 2 weeks, and just load it down with them.
Cool.
So that's like
Wow, that is much easier than even I thought it was. I think, like I said to you earlier, Kelly, I've known about Support Crew for a wee while now, and it looks like things have got easier and easier with the platform as you've kind of, morphed through and evolved and found out what it is that people need. So I love the one. I love the slide where you had a play date for your husband,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
because those kind of things are actually really important. Getting that main carer out of the house, taking them for a coffee, taking them fishing, doing something normal. Um,
yeah, yeah, totally.
so
Yeah.
important to bring just that little bit of the real world back in, because you do get caught in a bubble.
Yeah, you totally do. You totally do. And you don't realize you're in a bubble either, because you just task focused, and sometimes it takes someone else to see that, as it did with Carol, seeing that in her husband. And that was a source of stress for her too, because she wanted, her husband to be doing well. And I know when Randall was first diagnosed, and his radiation was his sort of first port of call, and I felt like I needed to take him to all his appointments. Like, I don't want to be a burden on other people, which I would imagine a lot of people would be able to relate to, and do everything myself. And he used to squirrel away in the background trying to find people to take him, because he didn't want it to be all on me.
Mm.
Yeah, I think often the person at the centre wants to protect that person that's supporting them and help them as much as they possibly can. And I think, speaking to that too, the biggest learning for me and that was that, in me trying to do everything and not allowing others to help, it meant that I wasn't allowing them the gift of helping. Because we all know what it's like to help, right? Like, when someone's going through a tough time, all we want to do is help. And it's so beautiful when you can drop off a meal or take someone to an appointment or do something for them. We know how great that feels. And I realized that by not allowing others to help, not allowing others to take medical treatment, I was taking away that gift from them. So I had to really relinquish that and kind of go, actually, it's okay. It's okay to ask, to get others to help, because that's a beautiful thing that they can contribute. And they would spend time with him and chat in the car, and it was a beautiful time, yeah, that they got to spend with him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because it is, as you say, it's a real gift. It's a real blessing to be able to help someone that you love. And you often do feel like, I want to do something, but I don't know. And yeah, unless you've got a really big chest freezer, sometimes, you don't need 40 meals
Yeah.
on the first and second day. What you need is 40 meals over a month to kind of come in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you can kind of deal with in that way rather than, your freezer being taken up.
Yeah.
Um, One question I did have for you is sometimes, do you have a way that, for example, if someone needed a little bit of support, but um, they didn't really have family, particularly that could set up a page for them or help them out, do you have like volunteers that, or could you make that page public enough that people can say, look, I live in Gore.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I give you a hand doing your lawns?
Yeah.
Is that something that can be worked into support crew?
So understand what you're saying. So you are saying, can sort of Joe Public help someone who needs a hand? Can we connect people in the community with people they may not know? Is that sort of what you're saying? Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful opportunity for support crew. And often we have people coming to us and saying, I've had my own cancer journey. I live in Wellington and I'd love to help out someone with a meal or take them to an appointment. Unfortunately, because support crew is completely private, we can't connect people with people they don't know because we don't really have a vetting process. Because obviously it would mean sending people potentially into someone else's home. But I think it's a wonderful opportunity for support crew, and we've just kind of captured everyone's details so that when and if we are in a position to be able to do that, we can go back to them and say, hey, I know that you're keen on connecting with people in the community. So if anyone would like to help someone in the community that they may not know, then just get in contact and we can certainly get them to
Oh,
list
that,
of
that
um
is very cool because, yeah, it can be quite difficult for people sometimes,
yeah,
who kind of do have very limited
yeah,
support to try and get that kind of thing. Because I know, oftentimes when I'm asked, I'll say to people, if you're having a good day, jot down all of the chores that you do.
yes, that's
Every
great.
chore that you do. Doesn't matter what it is, just write it all down. And then if somebody says, can I help? You just show them the list and go, just pick
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, that's a great example. We also do that. Like if you had a little fairy help,
Yeah.
a mother who for help and you didn't have to worry about what anyone was going to say, I think, and you wrote all those things down. Because I think I use this analogy too, with your mobile phone, if you've got a whole lot of apps open on your phone, it drains the battery and it doesn't last as long. So we say with support crew, it's a good way to close down all of those apps so that your battery lasts longer because your battery's going to need to last for a long time during this journey. So you can get someone else, close down the meal app, close down the chores app and the walking the dog and the blah, 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 so that you can focus on being well, then that can really potentially help. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
those pages can stay open for as long as people need them to be open. Is that right?
That's a great question. Yeah, they are enduring. So, because often people dip in and out of needing help. Yeah, they do stay there. We can absolutely delete them if somebody would like that to happen. They just get in contact with us and we do that. But no, they definitely stay there. And some people sometimes get us to like download all the messages that are on their support page because they want to sort of keep them in one place. So, yeah, because sometimes they're a beautiful record of a journey that someone's had.
Yeah, that's cool. And I love the messages function as well, that you can say, look, you know, in your instance, Randall's having a pretty bad run at the moment. Please just leave us to get through this bit. I've known of families that will put a message on their answer phone on their mobile or on their landline that just gives an update, and they just do that, whenever they remember. And it just means they don't have to answer the phone. As soon as it goes to answer phone, people will get the update and they don't need to
Yes.
repeat that
Yeah.
story and relive it every single time they have to repeat it. So I love that message function that people can then just kind of see, and they know that you still care, and that you want to be supported, but you just don't have the energy to do that at the moment.
Boundaries around how you use it. Yeah, I love that. The other thing too that you jogged my memory on with the whole messages function. So speaking specifically about the messages function, the platform, how you can post messages of an update, and then your support crew members can put messages of support in there. What we had on the platform before we transitioned was emoji reactions, and we unfortunately weren't able to include that in the transformation, but we're just in the process of adding that back in. So that should come in over the next sort of couple of weeks. So what's beautiful about that is that support program members can react to a message with an emoji, because you know how sometimes it can be really difficult to know what to say.
Mm.
So used to communicating with emojis, aren't we? So that will come back in. So it just means that you'll be able to see if someone's liked or loved or given a care or strong and support for you as well. So that's staging you come back on as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Because yeah, we do. We just kind of hit yay or whatever, and I suppose it gives the carer or the patient even that ability to just kind of go, I've seen your message. Thanks very much, without having to say that.
Yeah. And being worried about saying the wrong thing or not saying the right thing, yeah. And just ask what that looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
then the other thing, thinking about it too, often people ask us about notifications on the page. So what happens is support crew members will get a notification via email if like a new need has been added or a new message has been added. Because we recognize that support crew is not like Facebook, like people don't go on there 5 times a day. So we and know that we can just let people know when new stuff has happened, so they can go in and check out what's happened on on the page. Yeah, so that's good to know as well, and something we didn't forget to mention.
Amazing. Look, thank you. I didn't have anything else, and at the moment there's nothing in the chats or anything that's come through. But look, I am sure that you will get questions coming through from people as soon as they find your website. Can you just repeat that website for everybody, just so that they've got it in their heads and they can quickly jot it down as well?
For those that are visual, I'll go back to the slide. So it's supportcrew.co. So www.supportcrew.co. So that's our main website. You can start a support page from there or find out a little bit more about how it all works. Yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant. Now people have got it in their hot little hands, and they can get to that nice and easily. Kelly, thank you so much for your time and your energy, and just kind of you and Janine setting this up as a platform that people can actually access. And like I said, I know of people that have used it in the past and have heard about it for a long time now. So it's great to see that, gosh, your reach has grown exponentially by the looks of things, and I'm sure it will continue to grow.
Yeah, we just would love to help more people going through tough times. So yeah, so thank you for sharing the message with everyone today.
Oh, perfect.